All right, everyone, we live in a funny world in which people think that it's somehow a bad thing if we renegotiate trade deals. It's like I was looking at some of the people weighing in the wake of Trump's comments regarding Justin Trudeau, basically, which was very funny. And look, he hasn't really responded. I wonder why, because he doesn't want to get into that sort of dust-up. He saw what happened with China and how, they basically lost in a lopsided struggle because they're an export economy. Here's the thing. People are insinuating that we shouldn't renegotiate trade deals because they're like, yeah, but they've been in effect for a long time and they were already negotiated to begin with. What Trump has pointed out, and he's not always entirely wrong here, is that when they were negotiated in the beginning, they were already shitty trade deals. It's possible just because something was negotiated some time ago and you stuck with it, that all that means is that DC has no balls. All that means is that US politicians strike shitty deals and then they maintain them because they're afraid of the political fallout if they try to renegotiate. They don't want to look like they're bad at diplomacy or they're antagonizing someone. They're rocking the boat. Don't rock the boat. It's scary, say all the people in DC. And the Republicans are just like the Democrats on this. They don't usually want to touch these things either. They'll make some vague statement about, well, we're getting ripped off by some, the Chinese lopsidedly export to us and we've got a big trade deficit. We should look into doing something about it. What happens when they get elected? Do they do anything? Absolutely not. Trump does, though. Trump is winning on trade. He is. He's winning. He's got 3 victories already. I mean, at this point, 2020 is basically assured unless he does something totally shitty or the economy collapses like Bill Maher wants it to. He's got trade, he's got jobs, and he's got foreign policy. In the sense of military matters aside from trade, although we could end up trading with North Korea. They swear they're going to denuclearize quickly, whatever that means. I'll be obviously talking about that separately. No, when we've got tariffs of over 100% on certain U.S. products, in a country like Canada or Mexico, and that's part of a trade deal, and we don't tariff anything, that is lopsided. It is full trade, and Trump is correct on this. Here's the thing. If we were to apply similar degrees of tariffs, all it would mean is that, hey, we're protecting certain goods of ours, you're protecting certain goods of yours. Who else are these countries going to export these things to? If we get into a tariff war with them, who else is going to absorb the demand? Nobody. They've already got deals with other countries. That's why we can renegotiate at a whim. We are the main importer. We're the biggest economy. We're also the biggest military power. We're also in a military alliance with all of these states. We're in alliances with every single one of these states other than China. Trust me, if Trump can back China down and get tens of billions of dollars in total trade concessions from China, and win a trade war with them and go back to a zero-sum game after having gotten concessions from them, do it in less than a month. What do you think's going to happen with a nation we're already kind of friendly with, like Canada? They're not going to try to actually go toe-to-toe with us, say, well, if you try to push us, we'll cancel all trade deals and stop being your friend. Do you honestly think that's going to happen? China, second largest economy in the world, second most powerful military for everything other than its nuclear stockpile. Of course, that would be Russia. Second most powerful nation in the world, essentially, right now. It's ahead of the EU. It's right behind us, although, I don't predict that it'll remain in that slot. I think that eventually it starts sliding down and India ends up taking its place. That's my personal belief, just a theory I happen to have. Eventually Brazil too, if it can get its fiscal act together. It's not clear that it will, but it's a big country, lots of resources. India does too. Lots of arable land. But here's the thing. If you can get a powerhouse in trade like China to say, okay, we'll renegotiate some of these terms, we're going to lower this tariff, that one, yeah, we'll scrap it. By the way, we're going to give you, a lump sum of goods or services or something. He got some sort of concession that totaled in the tens of billions on its own, but it was kind of fuzzy as to what it was that he got, so I don't even bother giving a shit about it. Here's the thing. If he can get them to do that, and he can get them to do it really quickly, what do you think happens with these smaller economies? Canada is a large economy worldwide, speaking in terms of the globe, but it's nowhere near China. It's nowhere near the EU. It's not like the UK or something. It's a big economy, but it's our closest ally. Canada is essentially US light anyway, but I mean, what leverage are you going to have? What are the tariffs on? Dairy, Durham wheat, things like that. We can get our own dairy, or we can get it from somebody else. So what the fuck? Where are you going to sell it to? Who else wants Canadian dairy? It's real easy to export to the United States if you're Canada or Mexico. Here's why. We share land borders. No shipping across an ocean. No shipping by plane. No, you can bring it in by truck. It's real easy. A train can bring it in. It's so simple. You can walk across the Canadian border with a fucking cow and a bag of durum wheat if you really want to. What are you going to do? Who else are you going to sell it to at the same prices you say? Who else is going to, by the way, deal with those tariffs? Nobody's going to deal with those tariffs. You don't have the leverage involved. So what's going to happen is Trump is going to replicate what he did with China. He's going to slap a bunch of tariffs on Canada and Mexico. They're going to get really nervous because they're thinking he might maintain them. He's obviously not. He'll slap them with massive tariffs on certain goods. They will come to the bargaining table and say, please, Mr. Trump, remove them. Okay, we've got to protect our industries, but we can lower those tariffs. We can tear up this part of the terms. We can renegotiate this one sentence of NAFTA that you really hate. And he'll get some concessions. We will have a better deal. We're still technically getting screwed, but we'll have more than we had before. We're less screwed. Our economy then grows a little bit more. Look, get goods cheaper, U.S. can manufacture those into cheaper goods too. May hire a few more workers, expand a factory here and there. It helps our economy, and it's not screwing them. No, when they negotiated these things from the get-go, the United States, when people like Herbert Walker and Bill Clinton and Bubba Bush, do you really think that Bubba Bush, when he was, W. Bush, I get those two mixed up because they're both assholes. When W. Bush negotiates a trade deal, do you think he does a good job? No. And Obama's idea of negotiating was sticking his head in his ass or walking away entirely and never talking to you again. Basically, hey, I'll give you this concession, that concession, this concession in exchange for that one concession. No, we're not giving you anything. Okay, well, I'm going to sign the deal anyway, like he did with Iran. Or he does the same thing and they say no, and so he just walks away like he did with North Korea. Yeah, wait, do you honestly think that Obama would have gotten even a vague promise from Kim Jong-un if he had been the one negotiating? Oh, I can't wait to talk about that issue. It's hilarious to see people who they're total never-Trumpers. They're trying to bend themselves into pretzels to blame him for he failed at the summit. I'm sitting there, I'm laughing my ass off. I can't wait to rip into these assholes. Now, the legacy media is full of shit. They think that the sky is falling because we've managed to get Justin Trudeau a little bit hot under the collar. Oh, come on. You mean like that time that Obama was spying on Merkel's personal cell phone and we suddenly went to war with Germany? Oh, wait, that never happened. So don't fucking tell me that renegotiating a 10% tariff on Lederhosen is going to cause war. It's not going to cause it. And meanwhile, these same people, they're constantly worrying about like Russia and they're trying to expand their influence. It's something, well, okay, so let's just weaken our own economy. We won't renegotiate any trade deals. We'll keep striking lopsided trade deals till our economy withers. And unemployment goes back up, the economy slows down so that we get replaced by China. How does this make it a safer world if you think that the U.S. should be the world policeman? Well, in order to do that, you at least have to have a massive economy. But you can welcome a red wave on a global scale, one that has a little yellow hammer and sickle attached, if you allow the U.S. economy to slump again. No, I want the U.S. economy to be on top of this. Of course, as someone who resides in this country, it's very beneficial to me to be in a country of this type of magnitude. If I were in I don't know, Uruguay or something, it might be harder to do business the way that I do it. It might be a little bit more difficult. Oh, what's that? Another country stopped liking us and they're getting guns together? Well, I guess I'm fucked unless the U.S. can guard me, they say. Essentially how it works. No, it's totally ludicrous to suggest that renegotiating a few trade deals is going to cause close allies to begin shunning us. Trump did fine at G7. It doesn't matter. Look, the U.S. is capable of occasionally differentiating from the rest of the Western world. It is possible for the U.S. to have a difference of opinion with Germany and the U.K. and France without World War III starting. You do realize this. There have been situations like this before. So when Trump says, well, readmit Russia, it's like they're not going to give up Crimea anyway. It's pointless to bother bickering about it. Shutting them out is just going to make the situation more dangerous. If you think that Trump is a Russian pawn, by the way, don't worry about World War III, because why would you attack someone who's secretly your ally anyway? It's a bunch of bullshit. That's about all. Peace out.